Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Music in Our Homeschool podcast. I'm here with Sarah Harmeling today of Homeschool Art Box, and we're going to be talking about new ways to include fine arts in your homeschool that I haven't really talked about before. If you are a homeschooler looking for ways to easily and affordably include a quality music education in your homeschool, you've come to the right place. This is the Music in Our Homeschool podcast. I'm Gina Mayo, homeschooling mom of 8 and music teacher for over 30 years. So, Sarah, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. So I am the creator of Homeschool Art Box, which I've been in business. This will be my 8th year coming up. And what we do is have boxes that are open and go. So each art box includes a lesson about an artist, prints of their work, and then instructions and all the art supplies for a related art project. So it was designed with the teacher in mind, really trying to make it easy and accessible for homeschool moms to include art in their homeschool. And I got started as a homeschool mom many years ago. And as I got involved in my local co-op, I just fell into that art teacher role because that's what I loved. So that has led over the years to this developing in my mind and developed into a business for me.
Oh, it's so cool. So the first time I heard about you was on World Watch because we start our homeschool day every day that we homeschool. I call all the kids together and we start with World Watch. And I had been advertising on there, but then I saw you started advertising there too. Then we met at the ICHE, Illinois Christian Home Educators Convention this past year. I was exhibiting and speaking, and then Sarah was exhibiting, so that was super fun. My daughter, who was helping me, my 13-year-old daughter, kept gravitating to your booth. I think that she found your stuff very enticing. I love art. I went to school to be a music teacher at Baylor, one of the classes I really wanted to take was elementary art methods. But I never could fit it in my schedule because there was always a required music course at the same time. So I was so sad that I didn't get to learn all that stuff. But recently I've started learning to paint, mostly acrylics and watercolors. But I think that you do way more than just acrylic and watercolor, right? Can you tell me some of the different techniques that your boxes teach?
Definitely. So our boxes are designed to introduce students to a variety of art media. So it's not necessarily sequential in building skills in watercolor, for example, or drawing skills step by step. It is an introduction to a variety of materials. So over the course of a school year, our boxes come out one each month. So each month we try and introduce students to a new art medium. So they get an introduction to a variety of different art media, a variety of experiences. And through that, we do give them some tips and techniques to get started. But then next month, we're going to surprise them with something else.
That's so fun. Can you give me an example of some maybe that are your favorites?
Sure. The different art mediums. Through the course of the year, we use oil pastel, watercolor pencils, decoupage, art collage, sculpture. We do some acrylic painting on canvases. So variety of things. Some of my favorites are, I love the collage projects. I just love that decoupage glue. You can bring so many different things, types of papers and stuff together in a project. So I really enjoy those. Those are a lot of fun. I also really love watercolor pencils, watercolor crayons, where you can draw it on just like you're coloring, and then adding the water it just brings a whole new dynamic into that art project by making it look like you painted it. So I love that.
I have some watercolor pencils, but I've never tried them yet. So
You
I
should.
know
You'll enjoy it. They're fun.
All right. So you said your boxes are only available during the school year. Is that right?
Our subscription from September through May. So we have a school year subscription, and then you get one box per month. In addition to that, we do have individual purchase art boxes at any time.
Okay.
And those are just we pick and choose our past artists that are available. We usually have 10 or 12 other boxes that are available. But with our subscription, then you're going to get that sequential, not repeating art mediums through the school year. And also, with the subscription, we always start in our early Renaissance or Renaissance artists and then progress up through a modern artist. So you do get a big picture of art history through the school year if you do the subscription. So there's some advantages to that.
What ages are these best for?
We don't recommend it for younger than first grade. And even that first grader, age-appropriate fine motor and attention span is probably very important to get this started. But a lot of those kids, if they really love art, will just take off with it. And we have all the way up through high schoolers that use the box. The thing I would say with high schoolers is it's an elective and it's an introduction. So it would be a fun art course for a lot of high schoolers. But if you're looking at building drawing skills or painting skills, it's a little different from some of the other programs in that way. More centered on that art history. So they're going to draw, the older students really are going to see a lot of connections between their other studies in history, science, worldview, with what they're learning in the art boxes and about those artists.
That's really neat. And I talk a lot about fine arts and getting a fine arts credit. And I could see that your boxes could be used as a basis for that. Did you say they're a different artist every month and a different style maybe, so they could take that, do the project, and then do some reading or research about the style or the artist to fill out a full either half credit or even full credit for fine arts?
Yes, definitely. That's what I usually tell parents that are asking me about high school. If you want to make it a half credit, then I would say you do the boxes and you add some research beyond that about that artist. In the box, you're going to learn some biographical information about that artist, technique information. We're always going to look at 2 works of art, often more, but looking at those works of art very closely and studying them. And then anything interesting about it. So sometimes, depending on the artist, there may be just other interesting stories about that artist. We even touch on sometimes if a work of art was stolen. Was it recovered? Is it still a mystery? Is it still out there somewhere? Those are things that kids really enjoy, and they're just interesting to everybody. So we try and hit those high interest subjects about those artists as well.
And did you say that everything that's necessary for the project is in the box?
That's correct. So you get 4 pages of lesson content about an artist, 2 prints of their work on real durable paper, so students can be studying those as you go through it, and then instructions step by step and all of the art supplies you needed. And we do have options for up to 4 students per box, so you can get just 1 box, but if you're working with multiple students, you can get multiple sets of the art supplies.
Oh, okay, without having to order 4 full boxes. That's nice. Now, I didn't ask you this ahead of time. Do you happen to remember who the artists are for this coming school year, for 2026-27?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
In fact, I can show you projects.
Oh,
if you want
yes,
those.
please.
Okay. All right. Although I don't think I have all of them here.
That's
Pretty
okay.
close. We're going to start the year with Alessandro Botticelli. So he was a early Renaissance artist, great master of art. And this project is acrylic painting, and we're just taking themes from his work he had a lot of angels in a lot of work, a lot of different religious works. So we're going to pull those themes and create a acrylic painting on some poster board. Then El Greco. This is a fun one. This is a bleeding tissue paper art collage.
Wow.
So it's so much fun to do. It's a little messy, but you got everything in there in the box. So it's just a matter of making the time, making a little space to get it done. Then we're progressing through history to Diego Velázquez. This is the project we're adding some perspective in with this one. So we're going to teach the students a little bit about one point perspective, and then they're going to create with colors, and they're modeling their project after one of his works of art. And that's often what we do. It's either a creation of a famous work of art or pulling themes from that artist's work. So sometimes it's not a direct duplication. John James Audubon, of course, a very famous American artist, and we're doing a fun bird watercolor picture for him. So he was a naturalist and an artist. Pizarro, we're going to do a little canvas with acrylic, little acrylic landscape for him. And then I have Munch, Edvard Munch, who is, and this is an oil pastel, so again, a new art medium. That's obviously a painting that probably many people know. And you'll just learn to appreciate him, learning about him as an artist as well. It's very interesting to dive into some of these artists' stories to see why they painted the way they did. There's a number of stories with each work of art. Yeah. I feel like there's the artist's story, the story of the painting itself, and the story of why that artist chose to paint that matter. And then we're ending the year with Norman Rockwell, so another very famous, well-loved American artist. This is that collage, using a lot of decoupage glue and different papers and things to create that. And that's how we end the year. So progressing through history, big picture of art history during that time, lots of different artists and media.
And I think you told me that you have sets, like you rotate through them each year. Is that right? How many different sets do you have?
Yeah, that's correct. We have a 4-year cycle. So you can go through Homeschool Art Box for 4 years and not have any repeats of artists and all different projects. But we will have oil pastel, probably some of those well-loved art mediums will be repeated year after year. But not within the same year. And each year, again, we start with that Renaissance or pre-Renaissance artist cycling up to a modern artist. So you get that big picture of art history, and then pick and choosing different artists each year.
I certainly want to do it myself. It looks really fun.
We do have a lot of moms and grandmas or grandfathers that do it along with their students.
That's
so
great.
It is a fun way. I found that grandparents maybe can get involved too. Art is good for everybody. So no matter what your age, it is so good for us to get creative, get our mind doing something else, getting involved in a work of art.
I could see that this would be good for a co-op project too. They could get one box a month and then spend the whole month just using that same watercolor or the pastels and do other projects that they find, but at least it could be on the basis of the Homeschool Art Box if they're meeting every week. If they meet once a month, it's perfect. How long do you think each project takes?
It does take, we do have some co-ops that use our materials, and they usually schedule 2 to 3 sessions to work through it.
All right.
So I always tell co-ops, you want some time to talk about the artist. Each of our artist lessons is split up into several different articles. So you can talk through and teach your students 1 or 2 a day, and then maybe come back the next week. You're going to review those and learn a little bit more. So it's very easy to divide up into several sessions, and our projects also can be split up over several sessions. So it does take a few hours. And of course, sometimes the bigger the group, the longer it takes. Of course, there's always those students that are done lickety-split too.
That's the thing about art. Some people spend so much time trying to get it just the way they want to. Which is neat. Right.
Definitely better with a little smaller group. You don't want too big of an art class, no matter what you're doing.
Or maybe if there's several teachers or other parents in there to help. And also depending on how old the students are.
Yes, that makes a big difference.
Middle schooler, I bet they would be a little bit more focused.
Yes, right. Yeah, middle schoolers is what I primarily taught in our co-op
Okay.
also. And yeah, so just going through, you can usually go through step by step at the beginning of the project, and then you're walking them through, still helping at each step because they're not always listening perfectly either.
Yes, that's true.
But it works.
Is there anything else you wanted to share about Homeschool Art Box or anything else?
I guess I want parents to understand that it really is designed with them in mind, that it's, as an art teacher, as a homeschool parent, and then teaching art in the co-op, I really saw that it was hard for people to implement art at home. It was a little overwhelming. They didn't, if they had something to go with, maybe they didn't have the art materials right there. So art was pushed to the side. It wasn't, they had good intentions, but it wasn't ever really done. So I really designed these boxes thinking of that teacher. I wanted to make it as simple as I could for parents to bring art into the homeschool. So that's really my goal with this. And so everything is in that box. It's an open and go box. You can really just open that box and get started. You don't have to prep anything ahead of time. You don't need to read the lesson ahead of time. Just read it with your kids and get started on the art project. So that's the main thing. That's my goal.
So much fun. I'm going to have an accompanying blog post that goes with this podcast episode, and I will get some photos of some of the things that Sarah's shared with us today, and for sure all the links that you need to order your own homeschool art boxes for this coming school year. Thank you so much for joining us today and talking about making fine arts easy in your homeschool.
Thank you so much for having me, Gina. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.